Cannabis. It has all sorts of effects on you, including, it seems, on your memory. A new study has shown that questioning people who are acutely high on cannabis makes them more vulnerable to forming false memories, like remembering something differently to how it happened, or remembering something that actually never happened at all. Here, scientists from Maastricht University in the Netherlands put high participants in a virtual reality simulation where they either witnessed or even committed a crime, and then they interrogated them shortly after. I found out more from two of the authors. First, here's Jan Ramakers and then Lillian Kloft.
In the witness scenario, they were seated in a train that was actually rolling into a train station. And while looking outside, they could see on the platform that there was one guy hitting another one and running away. Half an hour after this, the interviewer could ask questions about things that actually happened, but in a very neutral way, so not steering. But the interviewer could also ask questions about things that did not happen. And these questions could be either suggestive or non-suggestive.
Lillian, have I got this straight? You got people high, put them in a VR headset, they saw someone get assaulted.
Yeah, that's correct. That's exactly what we did. And yeah,
What sorts of questions would you ask them once they're out of the VR?
for example, there was a police dog on the scene, right? Or did you see the attacker's black coat, even though he was actually wearing a light gray jacket?
Jan, which details were people most likely to make fake memories of?
Details that were unrelated to the actual event. So the looser they were associated to the event, the more insecure people were about whether it actually occurred or not.
As in unrelated to the crime?
Exactly.
I think what Jan was saying, we've also found effects with completely non-leading questions. So when we asked, did you see a person with a yoga mat on the platform? And yeah, we found the strongest effect actually for these non-suggested questions.
Jan, what's going on here? Why are people coming up with memories of stuff that actually never happened?
I think it's because people under the influence of cannabis become insecure about their own memories. We've seen before that cannabis by itself does affect memory function. Our study shows that this is not so much of a problem when they are presented with facts that they actually remember, but when presented with events that have not happened and that they don't remember, they develop this tendency to say yes.
Lillian, is it only cannabis that can make people create these false memories? Do other drugs have this effect too?
So there is some evidence alcohol can make you more suggestible, especially when somebody is very drunk. They are more prone to go along with suggestive questions about things that didn't happen.
Jan, what kind of implications does this have for someone who's maybe seen a crime and is getting questioned by the police? Do you think this situation actually happens in the real world?
Yes, it does happen. We actually looked at some of the forensic databases in the Netherlands, and we estimated that each year there would be somewhere between 200 and 300 cases where either somebody committed a crime under the influence of a drug, such as cannabis, or was witness of a crime while under the influence. Now, these records, they don't really tell you at which time the police did their interrogation. But it's quite likely that some of these interviews take place right after an event when somebody is still under the influence of a substance. And this study shows us if you do that, the explanations may not be as accurate as you actually want them to be.
What about in a country like the UK or Australia or anywhere where cannabis is illegal?
The prevalence of cannabis use is really not so different here as that from the UK. I think the difference really is that if a policeman in the UK would ask, a suspect, did you smoke cannabis? Probably would say no.
Jan Ramakers and Lillian Kloft, and that paper was published in the journal PNAS.